right?
Definitely. You're
Okay,
going to be
good.
singing with us for sure. All right, you guys ready? I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Okay, we're gonna sing that a lot, so sing it with us. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do, no puedo hacer all the good, todo el bien that the world, que el mundo necesita, pero el mundo necesita todo mi bien. I cannot do
Ich kenne es.
all the good
Alles gut,
that the world
that the world needs.
but the world
Brother, all the world brought all its good
that I can do.
that ich can do.
I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do
Nawa makubiyairo,
that the world
kedunya,
needs,
ehyezane,
but the world
amadunya,
needs all the good
ehyezana makubiyairo, keman mitu nambokona.
Everybody, I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. Let's give our language folks a hand, yeah!
Okay, can we stand up for a minute? Let that energy fly next to you. Turn to the person next to you and say, good morning. Give your name. Welcome to Unity. Hey, good morning and welcome to Unity. All right. So we got a little bit of everything in that opening song. We had some even German, Arabic, right? Spanish. What was it? Farsi? It was Persian. Oh. Okay. Good, we love variety. Oh, while you're seated, can you just turn off the volume on your cell phone so it doesn't ring out loud? You can keep your cell phone on to use it if you want to photograph some of the PowerPoints that we show, or if you want to use it to text a tithe of some kind. We appreciate that too. And I want to say welcome to all of our Spanish-speaking friends who are joining us for this service. We appreciate having their energy here. That's what Unity is all about. Unity is a beautiful, wonderful garden of different people from all over. We love it, and we love all those people that are tuning in live stream. Thank you for joining us this morning. You're in for a phenomenal talk. And I always tell a little joke, before I leave the stage. So I will tell one, but this is not mine. This is Heather, our secretary, gave me this joke just a few minutes ago. And I will let you applaud to the degree that you think the joke was worth it. This duck goes into a bar and orders a Southern Comfort on the rocks. And the bartender says, "How would you like to pay for that?" The duck says, "Just put it on my bill." All right, that's all for Heather.
You got that joke.
So, sort of in honor of our Pride Fest this weekend, we're doing a little bit of a colors theme today. So we are going to do a song for you, and you're welcome to sing along if you recognize it. So we'll go ahead and start that. Jamie, ready? You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged, oh I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside of you can make you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show. Your true colors are beautiful, oh, like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you're taking all you can bear, just call me up, 'cause I'll always be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show. Your true colors are beautiful, oh, like a rainbow. Yeah, I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show. True colors are beautiful, oh, like a rainbow. Oh, like a rainbow. Oh, like a rainbow.
Good morning, everyone. Will you join me in an opening prayer, please? Just close our eyes and get into the presence of this room. And leave the world and the struggles outside the door and recognize that this is time for us to connect with Spirit and remember our true holy nature. Connecting with that heart beat, the one that we all share, no matter what color each one of us is. We are all one. This is a community of all inclusivity. We're not here to judge anyone, but to grow our understanding in our oneness, and where we do agree with one another in so many ways. And that we have the ability to heal any relationship in our life when we connect with our higher consciousness through meditation, writing, walking in nature, connecting with the heartbeat again, and remembering there are no obstacles that we cannot overcome, that we are the light of the world. And when we affirm that in our life, we can bring healing into every area of our lives. And we give thanks for this time, Spirit. Amen. Today I am giving a talk that's a continuation of the talk that I gave last Sunday. The title, The Power of Trusting the Universe. And I didn't feel like I completed the sermon. I got distracted last Sunday with some people talking while I was speaking, and so I would really ask that when this is like, it's not a dialogue, this is a monologue, right? When we're up here, and when I ask for feedback, then I want that. But when people are calling out when I'm speaking, it's a lot. So I'm just asking for that respect when I'm speaking up here. Some people can have a lot of fun with that and joke, and I think they're called comedians. I never claimed to be one of those, so. Okay, so last week's talk was on the traumas of childhood and how they play out in our adult lives, and how, I feel like I didn't go deep enough into how you can move through it, move past it, and actually heal those traumas in life. So I wanted to go more into that reality today. I watched an incredible YouTube by a man named Matt Kahn, and it's called Alchemy of Transformation. Literally was given to me that day by somebody, and I watched and I was like, wow, I had really wished I had seen it before the sermon that I gave last Sunday. So I wanted to share some of his ideas, so just to know that I am using some of his wording in the sermon. But one of the slides that I shared at the beginning of my sermon to get an idea of what happens to us in that early wounding, I kind of covered the child wounding at school. I was really kind of covering bullying and being treated and taught that there was something not necessarily perfect about us by peers. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about the parent wound today, because that's a really, really important one that I really didn't go into. But one of the slides I read went like this. It's from The Undefended Self by Eva Pierrakos. The baby at birth is a wide open system with free-flowing breath and an undefended responsiveness to the world. The inner sense of a separate self is not yet formed, though there are certain predispositions and tendencies inherent in the soul at birth. During the course of our birth, infancy, and childhood, we've experiences which seem to teach us that certain aspects of ourselves and of life are unsafe, wrong, and painful. On the basis of this negative learning, and in an attempt to avoid pain, we shut down the full flow of life through our bodies. And so today, I really wanted to talk about opening up to the inner mystic. I believe that within each and every one of us is a mystical being, which is, it's named many things. We call it the unseen realms, we call it the soul, we call it, it's whatever has the development that when you are first born, there is no brokenness in us. It's really the world that starts to mirror something about us, that starts to talk us out of having self-love and reflecting a powerful being in this world. But what a mystic is neither a faith nor a belief, nor is it a principle or a dogma. A mystic is born. Being a mystic means having a certain temperament, a certain outlook on life. It is for this reason that many are confused by the word mystic, because mysticism cannot be explained in plain words. And I'm always talking about that in my sermons, that it's really, really hard to explain this journey. I mean, we're using words, which is a very limited ability to connect with energy, which is a wordless work. You know, it's a feeling place, it's a vibration, it's an energy that we carry. And so we're always trying to paint a picture for you to understand how to apply it in your own lives so that you can reach inward, tap into that, and bring it into the healing of the different areas of your life where you're finding blocks and limitation. But I like the idea of mystic because mysticism sounds like magic, right? And this spiritual magic, it's about tapping into the part of us that isn't made of words. It's not made of things that you can touch and that you can feel. A feeling and up to all of these things in order for them to give us what we need. So this is an interesting idea, and I love this because this is so true. And I mean, I knew that at a core level, but it was like by reading that, I was like, wow, that is so, so true. We actually take on the behaviors that we so judge so much about the parents and the woundedness that was in them, and then later on at 20, 22, 25, you yell at your kids and all of a sudden you hear that same exact thing that that parent said that hurt you so much. Have you ever had that happen where it just blows your mind, you hear your mom or your dad come out of your mouth in your child ring when you said you'd never do it? But it's because it's not a conscious decision. It's just a growth thing. It's just something that we did. We thought there was a way we could pine for love from a person that didn't have the ability to give that love to us. And so really a big part, I feel, from us not awakening are those wounds, because we are still walking with this in our subconscious being, and we're still blowing up and we're still acting out in the way that these people did with us. And then we say, well, that's just who I am, so just accept me for this. That lower behavior in our communication, when all of a sudden we become these people that we disliked, we just accept that lower standard on ourselves because we say that's just who we are. And we want people to accept us for even the nasty sides of ourselves. And I mean, of course, we want the light sides to be accepted, but we're not sure that we can actually grow up and move over into a consciousness and into a delivery and into a dialogue with others from a healthy place. But the inner mystic within you is always trying to show you that there is a mystical side to you that can stop leaning back on the lower natured things that you took on that made you believe that you were not safe and that you were not loved, and to deliver something from love so that you can receive love, right? And some people say it's easier said than done, and the truth is everything takes practice. Everything in life takes practice. So think of something that you know you do that's not necessarily to your highest standard of yourself, like with a boss or a partner or with your children, someone that you're not having a deep and good communication with. And think about the idea of this thing called a holy pause. A holy pause, when we feel like there's a reaction, there's a defendedness. I need to defend myself with this person. And so we jump with a reaction that's probably not even necessarily all our reaction. It's probably from our lineage reactions that we've been taught this is a way we communicate. When we take a holy pause and recognize where this either attack is coming from that we're about to say, or this hiding that we're going to do. Some people just go and hide, and then they have this horrible energy in the room for 2 weeks, and people are feeling the pain because you said something that upset me, and I'm defending myself through silent treatment, and there's this vibration, that energy that's just palpable through the entire household. None of these are better. I'm not saying yelling is worse or this is worse, but we all have a skill to protect the heart. And when we do have these kind of interactions with people, we have to recognize that the response is coming from the pain body. The pain body is where these early traumas were stored. And so it's really, really important to visit that early trauma in order for us to wake up into the powerful beings that God put us here to be. And then we ask, but why would that be part of the order of life? That we'd have to get those cuts in our early childhood for us to go into life and kind of go in broken a little bit instead of completely flying from the nest with this incredible, powerful view that everything is magic, everything's in divine order, everything is working out for us. And I feel like we tend to attract in our first partners, our best friends, people that have similarities to the parent that we grasped onto from the early wound so that it's brought back up. And it's usually pretty early in our life that we see, wow, I'm defending myself in a way that I did in my early childhood, and we actually attract people into our life that are a lot like them, so we can keep defending ourselves. But what I think it is that the universe is very honorable to bring these people into our lives, which we did attract by the law of attraction of holding lower self-esteem issues and then bringing in people with this lower self-esteem to show you that you're not good enough. They come back into your life because this is the training time. This is the spiritual time to grow. And we all know when we finally faced our fear and we left a relationship that no longer served us, we realized this isn't supposed to be this hard. This isn't supposed to be dragging me through the mud every single day, and we can never meet in love and kindness. And it might be somebody that you work for. It might be a lover. It might be whatever. But it took enough time for you to realize that I actually know that I'm made in the image and likeness of God. And if that's the case, then nobody can tell me there's something wrong with me anymore. And I also don't want to tell someone else that there's something wrong with them. What's going on with them is none of my business. The only thing that I'm in responsibility for in my life is me and the wholeness of my glass and the vibration that I meet life with. That's all that I'm responsible for. And as parents, we're meeting our children with the vibration of showing up. We're meeting our spouses with showing up. We're meeting our work with showing up. And watch when you show up as that mystical being that sees that everything is in divine order and it's all falling in place and it's all divinely directed, that it all will become divinely directed. So, waking up. How do we wake up? How does one do that? It's looking at the circumstances of your life that are no longer serving you and looking at what you're bringing to them. Are you meditating every single day? Are you walking in nature every single day? Are you taking your shoes off? Are you connecting with Mother Earth? Are you getting into the pulse of slowing down and putting your phone away, getting the iPad put away, and looking at what nature is showing you in all the different ways that the universe is constantly guiding you, constantly trying to get your attention. But so many of us are in our woundedness so much that we have this monkey chatter that's just always talking out of our beauty, talking us out of our intuition. It's talking us out of what we're seeing and perceiving and dreaming and writing. So we're believing this monkey chatter more than what is actually completely being downloaded by God into our actual being. We are always available to the greatest direction and the director, which is God, which is right here. It always has been right here, accessible to all of us. And yet, many of us aren't accessing it. We're still walking through with the blinders on and not getting to experience the mystical. I'm turning something on.
This is therefore to say that transformation of human consciousness through meditation is frustrated so long as we think of it in terms of something that I myself can bring about by some kind of wangle, by some sort of gimmick. Because you see, that leads to endless games of spiritual one-upmanship and of guru competitions, of my guru is more effective than your guru. My yogas are faster than your yoga. I'm more aware of myself than you are. I'm humbler than you are. I'm sorrier for my sins than you are. I love you more than you love me. This interminable goings on about which people fight and wonder whether they're a little bit more evolved than somebody else and so on. All that can just fall away. And then we get this strange feeling that we have never had, you see, in our lives, except occasionally by accident. Some people get a glimpse that we are no longer this poor little stranger and afraid in a world it never made, but that you are this universe, and you are creating it at every moment, because you see, it starts now. It didn't begin in the past. There was no past. See, if the universe began in the past, when that happened, it was now. See, but it's still now. And the universe is still beginning now, and it's trailing off like the wake of a ship from now. And that wake of the ship fades out, so does the past. You can look back there to explain things, but the explanation disappears. You'll never find it there. Things are not explained by the past. They're explained by what happens now. That creates the past, and it begins here. That's the birth of responsibility. Because otherwise, you can always look over your shoulder and say, well, I'm the way I am because my mother dropped me. And she dropped me because she was neurotic, because her mother dropped her. And away we go back to Adam and Eve, or to a disappearing monkey or something. We never get at it. But in this way, you're faced with it, you're doing all this. And that's an extraordinary shock. So, cheer up. You can't blame anyone else for the kind of world you're in. And if you know, you see that I, in the sense of the person, the front, the ego, it really doesn't exist, then it won't go to your head too badly if you wake up and discover that you're God.
And so what Alan Watts is saying there is that we really can't blame anybody, though, in the end. It's not about finding blame for the people that made mistakes with us. It's about finding forgiveness and recognizing that everybody does the best that they can with what they have. But what we can do is do a lot better, right? And recognize, what if we wake up and realize that we are God? What does that mean? The makeup of all our oneness, all of us together, have this continuation of life that's coming through us that is an outpicturing of what God is in this world. Then we have the ability to change absolutely every single thing that is not working in our lives. We have the ability to go, well, that's the early wounding, and I don't need to live in that anymore. That's the early stuff that I used to live in, so that I was a victim in my life versus recognizing the master that lives within me. I'm worried there's some fade on here. Is there something? Oh, there it is. Okay. Discovering the power within you says it this way. Consider the lowly caterpillar. It is self-evident that the caterpillar and the butterfly live in entirely different worlds, and no one would ever say that a caterpillar is a butterfly or that a butterfly is a caterpillar. And yet we know that the caterpillar and the butterfly are simply different levels of expression of one entity. The caterpillar can fly, but not as a caterpillar, only as a butterfly. He has the potential, but something has to happen to him. You can do the things Jesus did, but not as a man you are now. Only when you are born anew into a higher state of consciousness. A caterpillar looked up and saw a colorful butterfly flitting around. He shook his head ruefully and said, "They'll never get me up in one of those contraptions." And they never will either. The caterpillar just cannot get up in flight. Yet as the caterpillar changes its embodiment, it enters a new world. Suddenly there is a whole new set of principles at work, and he releases a whole new potentiality. You know, I grew up with a father that was on a spiritual path his whole life. And to be a witness of a person that's been a minister their entire life since I was born, to watch the spiritual journey and the awakening process isn't like, he's not the same minister now that he was in his 30s. You know, I've watched the evolution of he was a little butterfly when I first met him. And now he's like a big, huge butterfly, right? It was a constant life for him to meditate every day. He was always up at 3, 5 in the morning, my whole childhood, meditating for hours and running in nature with his dog every single day. There was not a sick day for his spiritual work. I mean, he absolutely showed a life that this is more important than anything that you ever do is to meditate and be connected with this greater something. And what happens in a full life like his is miracle upon miracle. His life is a miracle existence. I literally watched this man, he's peaceful. He's happy. You know, he'll say to me, you know, I have the time to do all these hours of meditation now. You're in the thick of kids. So it's okay that you have moments where it's overwhelming. This is the busy phase of your life. You've got kids, you've got dance classes, you've got volleyball, you've got classes you're teaching, you've got sermons to write. You have so much to do. It makes sense that you feel overwhelmed at times. That's part of this phase of my life, but I remember him being in that phase of life and having to have children there to get ready before he had to do a sermon, and he wasn't in the best mood before he did a sermon. You know what I mean? I remember that. And now I'm like trying to get the kids to find their clothes before I have to do a sermon, and I have all these things, and I'm irritated. Really irritated. Did you brush your teeth? Go brush your teeth. Did you get your shoes? Did you get your socks? Doing all this. And what I really am in is in my sermon. I'm not there with them. I just hope they show up dressed. You know, it's like too many hats to wear, you know, as a mom and a dad. When you're doing a greater work here. You're doing God's work. You have to really put yourself out there. And my whole consciousness, heart, is connected here more than with them on those days. But I know that that's the actual spiritual process. It's at those moments that define what we're bringing to life energetically. Right? It's in those moments that you're so wired up tight and you're stressed and you're in a little bit of fight or flight and you're thinking about what's going to happen in a few hours and you're doing this whole thing. What is coming out of your mouth with those little children that are still impressionable on Sunday morning just like they are on a Tuesday morning? Right? So, Stop, look, and listen is what she said. And it's true. Like, there is nothing more important than this moment with my kids, right? And I did a good job today because I've been working on the sermon and I thought of this idea. But it should just be the unfoldment that there's always that holy pause. The holy pause is something that my dad worked with us all our life. You know, when you're in those teenage years and everything is just an over-exaggeration of the drama of how frustrated you are. And he would just stand there patient and just look down at you like you're in it, man. You are wigging for no reason. And just, you know, what's the holy pause here? What is actually behind all this that you're saying? And I do that with my kids right now, because my daughter's 11, but she seems like she's going on 14, and everything is like the world's coming to the end right now. And it could be over the fact that the sandwich I made for her lunch is not the one she wanted. You know, It's really like that. And it's like, boy, oh boy, man, you are like going to adrenaline levels, and the whole family is vibrationally affected by these tantrums with everything. But some people stay like that their whole life. Some people don't even find that there's a higher consciousness to be working through, and they live in that drama, and they live in that fight or flight all the time. So what is the vibration that we're bringing? In human consciousness, man is involved in all sorts of limitations. Sin, which in Unity we refer to as error, disease. And in this consciousness, all the things that Jesus did were absolutely miraculous. Looking as a lowly worm of the dust would see, just imagine turning water into wine, feeding 5,000 hungry people with a few loaves and fishes, healing people lame and blind since birth. Impossible, right? Or at least miraculous and beyond duplication. Yet Jesus dealt continuously with the higher nature of man. He healed and he helped and he transformed people by the power of their own higher nature and not by any special power of his own. He was always asking them, do you want to be healed? The man that's lame, that's laying there, wanting him to fix him, why would he say that? Do you want to be healed? Because that's a really important question to ask yourself. Do you want to be healed? Do you want to heal this victimness, this brokenness that's within you? Or is this story carrying you and it's getting you a lot of props in your life? Are you using your victimhood to get ahead, to bother people? Or do you want to be healed? To be the divine presence of God through you? That everything you touch is a miracle, that you are healing. You are a divine advocate for the work of healing people, helping people, giving people money, not judging why you're giving them money or what they're going to spend it on. You're there to help each other. And watch. When you do help, and you are a divine conduit for whatever spirit puts in front of you to ask you to take care of this, please, because you are my hands, you are my heart, you are the everything that's going to fix these things. When I put this person that's in front of you that's asking for help, help them, and I promise that you'll be abundantly taken care of. If it's your last $10, give it. And watch how you'll be abundantly blessed. You will see a blessing come into your life. You'll see a healing happen in your life. Something that you haven't been able to overcome. You have no idea, but then you're given this opportunity to help someone else, even though you're like, I don't have anything to give. No, you don't have time to not give at that time. Because we give from the spiritual store that exists within all of us to the other to take care of them. And watch how your life is limitlessly blessed and beautiful. And then we have that moment that Alan Watts was just talking about, where time stops. There's a sense that you're not separate from this universe, but you realize that you are the entire universe. Who's had that experience? When time stops and you have a sense of God so deeply within yourself, and you want to hold on to it, you want to hold on to it so bad, and then it's like it disappears. Right? Many of us mothers felt that when we first held our babies, right? And they say, oh, it's because of the hormone love. No, it's because you have the greatest purpose of your life, and you feel unconditional love in a way that you have never felt love before. But what happens before we get to hold the baby? Well, if you've had natural childbirth, which I had all my children at home, it's agony. It is hard to give birth to babies, and everybody says it gets easier with each one. It's a lie. It's just shorter. At the 10 point, it's still as bad as the first child. I thought the fourth one would be like, okay, here it is. No. But every single time I held the baby, all of that, all of the above, right? And so we hold the baby, and there's no difference between each child. There's no level of a different level of love. You think when you're pregnant with the second child, oh my God, I could never love this child as much as I loved the first one, right? This is something that goes through our minds. And then we hold the baby, and it's like, how did I ever do my life without this child in my life? Like, it just fits together. Like, everything fits together in life. So there's that piece that there's this limitless potential, but it's not easy. When we really do break through into enlightenment and awakening, it's probably because we've been through a very painful journey of things that have been very, very hard, that have broken our hearts in a million pieces, we have suffered, we have hurt, we have felt the depths of this human pain until we finally grow into the spiritual giant that we were put here to be. But we had to get rid of the limited thinking about ourselves, the wounding, the things that we kept holding, that we aren't spiritual beings. First, we're human beings. No, we're spiritual beings first. But we're taught that we're human beings. And we hold on to that because that's what people taught us. This is the wordless process, which is the ethereal part of us that's always there, will awaken as the old idea. It's like the death and the resurrection. It's the death of the old self, the one that no longer is served, the one that's limited, the one that's dying. Let it go, because you can't know what the best part of your life is about till you let it go. You shed this old way of being, this old consciousness. Jesus knew that everyone had within them the divine level of being, and that in the divinity of man is the limitless potential of healing. It is because of the divine potential within you that it can be said, regardless of any medical prognosis, you can be healed. Regardless of what evaluation we may make of our lives from the human level, there is that in us that transcends the human. When we know the truth of this great spiritual potential within us, which Jesus called the kingdom of God within, we are free to become our unlimited self, free to do unlimited things. We see things in a different light. We react to a different set of principles. We draw upon a higher potential, a potential that has always been with us, which has always really been here. And how do we attain that all the time? Every minute we have that choice, every hour, every day, every month. And sometimes we'll just stay in our petty ways, but it's just like exercise. You're not going to see the fruits of your work or your spiritual work until you do your spiritual practice. Have you ever done like Akashic writing, where you just let go of the pencil? You hold in your mind what is going on, that's the limitation that you're feeling, if it's physical, if it's your heart that's broken, or there's something that's having a problem or whatever, and you just open up your third eye and you just start to write. I don't really know what I want to write right now. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be writing right now. And all of a sudden the writing changes and you're observing your hand writing, and yet it's not you. Who's done that? But don't talk, just put your hands up. My dad loves like a heckling thing, don't you? He's really he plays it. That's because he's been on the podium for 40 years. So, he's got a little practice with it. So, what is that when you can start writing and all of a sudden it's something greater? It's not from this human experience. It's from a spiritual experience. So that's when I love it when people say to me, well, I'm a psychic. I'm from a whole line of psychics in my family. Oh, I can read your Akashic records because I have this ability. I got it when I had this car accident. No, the truth is actually you're all psychic. And actually y'all can read each other's Akashic records because we're all connected. We've been traveling many lifetimes together. It's very rare that we'd be sitting in a group like this, and we actually haven't done this already together before. We're just finding old friends from different passages of life, and we're here to mirror the healing and the beauty because we're hungry to get that beauty that we found in other lifetimes together, right? So to start working with the mysticism, with that core spiritual being that you were born with that never dies, that the body falls away and then you come back again and the body falls away and it grows and it grows and it grows. And the more it's getting more and more knowledge of its spiritual ability to heal, to manifest, to be happy, to heal depression, to be alive, and to be joyful. Journey into truth. Oh, how in our ignorance we have mistaken and misunderstood God, in consequence of which we are today pygmies, when he wanted to make us giants in love and health and power, by manifesting more of himself through us. I know we're hearing a lot of him. Sometimes I switch it to him and her, but there's a lot. These are old texts from Unity that I'm using, and I think it's okay to keep it in the way that it was written. But you all understand, ladies, I totally hear you. Okay. By manifesting more of himself through us. We would not let him because we have been afraid to say, have thy way in me. Manifest thyself through me as thou wilt. And then there is the moment that you begin to feel yourself as absolutely fundamentally a part of everything. And in every moment, a miracle is happening in the midst of you through every whisper of clarity from Spirit. And so let's bring to mind, we're going to go into meditation now, but let's bring to mind an area of your life that you would like to discover healing, okay? And recognize that today's the day. Today is the day to get out of our own way as far as the human experience. You want to open up to the majesty of Spirit showing you in a dream what it is that you need to do to heal this part of you that you seem to not be able to overcome at this point. If it's a healing for someone else that you love, then just surround that person in light right now and speak to their higher spirit and see them finding their wholeness in order to conquer whatever is in limitation in them as well, so that we don't have to be worried about them either. That's one of the biggest stresses. It's not just our own life, but it's the people that we love in our life. To be conduits of a prayerful light for others, too. To know that if we are one with God or conduits of God, then we can also bestow blessings through our picturing power of our powerful subconscious mind through our third eye to send to whoever. Or if you need to just feel the pouring of God's love downloading into your third eye and healing you today, then love yourself enough to see this in your mind's eye right now. Open my eyes, O divine one. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to feel you. I want to feel you. Open my eyes, O divine one. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to feel you. I want to feel you. To feel you holding me up, shining through my heart overflowing, source of all life, as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open my eyes, O divine one. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to feel you. I want to feel you. If you know this song, you can sing it with us. Open my eyes, O divine one.
depths of my heart, I want to feel you. I want to feel you. To feel you holding me up, shining through my heart, overflowing, source of all life, as we sing holy, holy, holy. Now we're going to just sing holy together. Holy, holy, holy. Let's sing it together. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to feel you. We'll do that again. Visualize whatever you're healing. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to feel you. And so it is.
Take an offering for unity now. Just for those of you that might be new here today, I wasn't spiritual my entire life. Okay? I was marginally spiritual. So let us realize how blessed we all are to be receiving these truths that we know in our heart have always been there, and now we're getting the opportunity to listen. Yeah, now's the time to express them fully. So it's such a beautiful service to sit here and be involved in all that. And then when we get to the place that's so important, gratitude, get into a place of gratitude and giving. That's where we open up totally. So as we open up totally, let's take our offerings in our hands and bless them with this offering statement. I guess they have it up here. I'll do the one that's up here. You can do it with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give.